what's guaranteed is each one of us is going to be disrupted. The only thing is, how do we deal with that? Do we sense the disruption at the right time? And do we change our game accordingly? Or do we get destroyed? So disruption is guaranteed. Now, how you deal with the disruption, you can convert that disruption into opportunity, or you can get destroyed. Universe is okay with whatever you choose, right? Nobody cries. The universe did not cry when some of the big companies closed down. Yeah, some people might have cried, but universe did not cry. So life goes on, right? With us, without us. Uh, Thanks, Ranjan. And Navneet, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, my observation line, the learning from this conversation is like, as you said, like leaders, we do not create leaders. That is what I could sense from here. Because we always fall in a trap wherein we think there are only few set of people or few people who are going to drive the entire show. And we do not allow others to, become a second line of management or maybe a second line of leaders or subsequent leaders. And then we don't prepare them for the future. We basically follow the same old process of doing business, which we think is the right way of doing things, rather
Yeah.
than changing ourselves or keeping ourselves ready for the this dynamic future. Because in any industry, like for example, in banking and healthcare are highly regulated industries from RBI and other sources, but still the changes are evident, and you can see there are various changes which has happened in even the banking and healthcare industries also, which we could not even think of few years back. So which will continue happening in the future also. So if you're not getting ready for such things, it may create a big problem for the company.
Yeah. One of the industry which is getting heavily disrupted, but most people are not noticing it, is the media industry. Yesterday only I was in a workshop where MIT Tech Review is a small company, is not a small company. It's a company part of MIT USA. It's a 125-year-old company, and they were cribbing about how the whole tech media is getting destroyed, and how many of the big famous ones have stopped doing tech reporting because of all these disruptions with technology and other stuff. Right. So every industry is getting disrupted. And yeah, great. Thank you very much. Okay, so any question before we go ahead? Okay, so the next thing that we want to look at is then how do we learn from the future? Right, we're talking about learning from the future, right? What are the skills, competencies required to learn from the future? So I will give you two words. I'm going to use these two words little differently than the way we normally use them. Okay. So one word I'm saying is downloading. Okay. Can somebody say it back to me so that I make sure you heard it correctly?
Downloading.
Downloading.
Yeah. Yeah. And the second word is knowing. Okay.
Knowing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So we are going to kind of see these words little differently than maybe the way we may have used normally. So what do we mean by downloading? Here, in the context that we're talking about, we are looking at downloading means operating from the habits of the past. It's our tendency to act and pursue the world from our habitual patterns, from our assumptions and our preconceptions. So we as human beings are always in the world of downloading. We are acting and perceiving the world from our habitual patterns, from our opinions and judgments, from our preconceived notions, right? The patterns. And if you look at every time we are taking decision from that, we are getting in the trap. So we are all doing it. So it's nothing like oh, some people are doing it, some people are not, and somebody's good and somebody's bad. We are not into that. This is where we are right now. And what are we doing inside of this world of downloading? We are reacting and responding to situations through the lenses of our past success, our existing mental models. And we are not truly seeing the situation with fresh eyes. So this is what happens when we have PhD in learning from the past. With me so far? How many of you can see that, yes, all of us, we take decisions based on our existing mental models. We see it from our current lens. Okay, so just imagine that you are in a room and there are windows across the room, but they're closed. Windows are closed and the curtains are pulled, and you're sitting in the room, and there is a projector beside you, and it's projecting a lot of audio video on the screen. But this projector is connected to your brain. So you're seeing some fantastic audio video. Extraordinary. Right? You're watching a film. The name of the film is Reality. What's the name of the film?
Reality.
Yeah. And 8 billion people are watching a film. The film is different, but each film has the same name, Reality. So you are watching a film called Reality, your spouse is watching a film called Reality, but it's not the same film. It's just the name is same. Your customer is watching a film, your boss is watching the film, your supplier is watching the film, your employees are watching the film. They're all watching the film, and the name of the film is Reality. Unfortunately, the film is different. So we are all living inside of reality. The only problem is, how many realities are there on the planet? 8 billion. Do you see some problem? So when we are stuck in that world of reality, no new future possible. So we have to learn to let go of that reality, to suspend our reality, and see it as what? Oh, as one perspective. And then we have to develop the curiosity. Oh, in my reality, it looks like this. Normally, we don't think my reality, we think it's reality. Right? Your reality is reality, right? Everybody else's reality is something else. But your reality is reality, the real reality, right? So unless we can see our reality as just one worldview, we can't develop the curiosity required to get into the learning mode. And if you're successful, if you're a leader, not many people will force you to, unless you are willing, not many people will force you to get out of your reality. Are you with me? So what is knowing then? Knowing is, I said two words, right? Knowing it involves a deeper sense of awareness and presence. It's a deeper level of awareness and presence. It is consciously suspending our habitual ways of thinking. Consciously suspending. So when you come up with a plan and everybody in your team seems to be agreeing to the plan, you got to say, okay, let's pause here. Now let's see what can go wrong here. If after 6 months we assume that this, and let's imagine that this has failed, what would be the reason that we have failed? How does this plan look from the view of the customer? How does this plan look from the view of the competition? How does it look from the other perspective people? Bring in multiple perspectives. But normally we don't do that. Normally because we have reality, no? Why do we need to have multiple perspectives? We have reality. So our reality is what is coming in the way. So we are knowing is suspending your habitual ways of thinking and seeing the world and discovering with like a beginner's mind. And to do that, not as just an individual, but as a team. So this is the beginning of learning from the future. This is like this is how you enter that world. Okay, let's pause here a moment. Everybody who's got your videos off, now see if you can make them on. It will work. Your internet is good. Try it. Get your videos on. Okay. Okay. Questions, comments so far?
How this knowing is different from unlearning?
Knowing would be that would happen after the unlearning, right? It's like you have suspended whatever you know. Instead of unlearning, I'm calling it you're suspending what you know, putting it aside. It's not that it is useless. It's not that you have to throw it away, but you're putting it on hold, like you're pausing it, right? And you're exploring with a fresh perspective.
But
And then
generally,
what you discover would be the knowing. Yeah, go ahead.
Generally, our mind always stops us going for a new way of doing things because we have some fixed way of doing things which we have been doing for past couple of years, maybe donkey number of years. So we are programmed to do it that way.
Yeah.
Right. So generally, there is a lot of resistance which comes in mind to accept a new way or reject the old way of doing things.
Completely.
How to handle that?
Just knowing that you have to keep telling yourself that what I believe to be true is what is going to kill me.
So is it right in saying like I'm looking at your perspective of things than my perspective, forcing myself to continue with my perspective only?
Yes, and not only you're looking at it from one more perspective, but multiple other perspectives.
Multiple perspectives.
And it's not that other person's perspective is right, but what is important is it's valid.
You're exploring that.
Yeah, and you're exploring multiple perspectives, not just one more perspective. So you're expanding your horizon.
It's more of an open-mindedness which comes with it.
So one of the questions we ask is, how many heads should a leader have? The first answer would be one. If you can only understand what you understand, then you're gone. You're dead. And your company is dead. Unless you can learn how to tap lot of other heads, right? You're in trouble and your company is in trouble.
Right.
So that's why we have three intentions in the work that we do. We are basically organization development consultants, and Theory U is one of our you can say flagship programs, because it's something that helps us transform culture, leadership, communication, and it allows us to open the space where all other things can happen. When we are doing strategy, when we are doing innovation, when we're doing any other thing in the company, the openness and the flexibility that's required we get it created in the organization through Theory U. Like one of the companies in Thailand where we did work, where we first trained everybody in Theory U, and then we went into strategy and strategy implementation. We worked with them for 2 years, and afterwards they received the award from their prime minister as the best managed small and medium enterprise. And then they continue to get national awards every year. And we have experienced it with many other companies also, that the whole when people are de-addicted from their reality, then conversations are meaningful. But when we are addicted to our reality, there's not much conversation. Right? We are just tolerating each other. Okay, you speak what you want to speak, then I will tell you the truth. Right? So a lot of bosses have been trained that they should listen to everybody, but what it means is they just allow people to speak. It doesn't mean they listen. Right? There's a big difference in allowing people to speak versus actually suspending what you know and being willing to learn something new. Dabi, did you want to say something? Okay. Vikas, go ahead.
So, Manoj, I think you raised a very valid point. Having openness from the leadership is the entry point for much larger things to happen. But my question to you is, and taking example of my own company where I work currently, when we started 15 years back, we were smaller. We did good business, and we are now more than 20x than what we were. And we got acquired by a larger company now. And now the company is large enough where there is too much distance from one layer to another. That is where we see the conflicting priorities not getting
Yes.
down,
Yeah.
And I think most of the leaders feel that my way or highway or my way is the right way, So
Yeah.
what would be your recommendation in this kind of scenarios?
Get the top leadership team to go through a brain surgery with Theory U, so that they can get that their reality is just one of the 8 billion realities.
It has to be from top down only.
You can start wherever you are, at least, but you need to be at some level of leadership, some level of influence. So suppose you are a department head, you can start for your department, right? You're a team leader, you can start for your team, and then you keep influencing. Right? You can see leadership is not based on designation. Right? You can provide leadership everywhere, and it doesn't matter what level you are in. And means I know from my personal experience that I have been able to influence people 2 levels, 3 levels above my post at in my earlier phase of my career. So much so that they are now associated with me, and just they want me to come and do some work with their clients. So that kind of relationship can also happen. It's just that you decide not to play victim.
Yes, that is the case. So that is how I also,
Yeah.
not directly, but I make sure that my influence is not just to my boss, but above to the top layer. So I appreciate your.
And as a leader, you cannot play victim. That's the rule. You have to choose one game, right? One character. Either you're a leader or a victim. You can't be both. Right? And then start seeing, okay, in what part of the organization can I make a difference, and whom can I take along on the journey, and just keep expanding your influence. And the more you practice all of this, the more you will be able to influence. Right? Okay, thanks, Vikas. Okay, anybody else? Hiran, anything for you?
Nothing, sir.
Okay, are you liking the conversation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm making notes also.
And you're going to use it in the next session, right? Whatever you're going to do. And you're free to use it. Okay. You should, all of you are free to use all of this. No problem. Okay. Uh, if you like, you can. But yes, when you talk about theory, you please make sure you say that it is by Dr. Otto Sharma of MIT, and don't say it is your own theory. Okay.
Definitely not.
No, I'm just telling everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have three intentions in the work that we do. One is what we call creating future-ready organization, and I think you got a sense of what I'm saying, right? How do you create organizations which are future-ready? Second part of our game is creating organizations where people bring their head, heart, and soul. Okay, now this is something which I would like to talk. So mostly people don't even think about bringing soul. It's like not even on the radar, right? Not even on the menu. Forget it. You have to bring soul. No, that's not even. Nobody even discusses that. It's assumed that if you want to nurture your soul, you should do some spiritual work or some social work or something outside the organization. It got nothing to do with organization. So soul is out of the question. Then heart. Okay. Yeah, you should bring your heart. But very soon, after 6 months of working, you realize if you bring your heart, you will get hurt. So you decide, okay, not bring heart, keep it home. Okay. So now say, okay, brain, at least I'm taking my brain to the office. Very soon you realize you can't be more intelligent than your boss or than your system. Because if you're more intelligent than your boss, you're going to get in trouble. Okay. So now what has the organization become? So organization doesn't get the full person. They get diluted version of head, highly diluted version of heart, and almost zero soul. So I asked a lot of CEOs, all your people have head, heart, and soul, and they have the intelligence of all of that. What percentage of that intelligence of the head, heart, and soul is available to the company? I once talked to a company with some 20,000 employees, and the CEO was an IAS officer. And I asked him that, and he was like brutally honest, and he said 1%. And I've never till now received any answer which is more than 13%. So we are talking about the power of people when you look at building organizations where people can bring their head, heart, and soul.
How do we measure that, Manoj? I mean, somebody saying 1% or 13% or 30%.
Whatever
Nobody
whatever
measures
way, there's no measure per se, right? There's not mechanics. It's just their sense of it. The whole point is to understand the gap, right? To realize that people don't bring this, there's no environment to bring this full self into the organization. Right? How do you know is when you start liberating them, you start creating new environments, then you start to see, oh my God, this person is providing this kind of leadership. I never expected that. Many people behave very ordinary in companies, and when they go out and they become so extraordinary and they create miracles. Right? Hiren, can I say something about you?
Sure, sir.
So Hiren was with me in a company, part of a big group, and we didn't work for long together, but he joined at a middle level. I wouldn't say it was a very senior level. Is that okay, Hiren?
Yeah, it was junior maybe, sir.
Not, yeah, but middle. And then that project was for some duration, and at some time, Hiren kind of decided to move on. And now he has created such an extraordinary success story. It's like mind-boggling. And I'm sure if we had asked people at that time, that do you think Hiren would create this kind of extraordinary success? Most people, they might have said yes, like because being politically correct, but I don't think they would have put their money on that. Right? So this is just one example. And there are so many such extraordinary people there, but in the culture that we have as organization, we don't have that space for people to be extraordinary. We have more, our management orientation is more on compliance. We are more interested in compliance than on excellence or extraordinariness. And we're not born for compliance. Right? Yes, Ranjan.
Yes. So, Manoj, what you are saying makes a lot of sense. I was
Yeah.
reflecting on my own work experience,
Yeah.
and I realized that on a couple of occasions, when the growth targets or the business targets were very high, and the
Yeah.
initial thought was that I would not be able to meet it, we can try, and so on and so forth. When we sort of believed and we went for it, we actually ended up surprising ourselves. I mean, so that's a very important learning that I've had in my career is that when you try for something that seems to be out of reach, it is worth trying because you do end up surprising yourself. You yourself don't know that this is what you were capable of, and which probably happens because you get some of more than the head on the table on your work.
Yeah.
I think that is the reason why it happens.
Yes. True. That you bring in more than the head. I agree. But if you look at the kind of environment that you will experience overall is right. It's not designed to nurture your head, heart, and soul. It's designed to nurture compliance. Right? And you meet a target and you're happy with that. And you meet another target and you're happy with that. And you meet another target, you're happy with that. And then after some time you realize, what the heck am I doing here? Because it doesn't
I
connect
agree.
with your soul. See, after that carrot, see, after some time, the carrots are no more juicy, right? And,
I
and
agree with
especially
you.
if you
So
if
that
you are
I
an
totally
aware
agree with
person,
you.
right? If you are an aware person and you're not been, you're not stuck in the golden handcuffs, then you realize very soon that this isn't going anywhere. Right. So we're looking at how do you create that kind of a culture where people can bring their head, heart, and soul. And I'm not saying is nobody has it, or but like how do you really get that as a commitment, and then go out and create with have the tools to actually create that kind of a culture everywhere, wherever you go, whichever company you are in. Right. So that's the second thing that we work on, and that is what the whole CXO workshop is about. And it has various exercises and tools connected with you discovering people newly, discovering the world from multiple perspectives, discovering your role from the perspective of your stakeholders. Like, what do your clients really expect from you? What do your team members really expect from you? How do you see your role from their eyes? And then, so all of that, those things will be there in the conversation. And then how do you really co-create? What does co-creation mean? How do you really co-create? How do you make sure that everybody is expressing themselves and at the same time building on each other's ideas, right? And it's a co-creation. How do you create that kind of a team environment? So there is another thing that we look at is what kills engagement, human engagement in the company. Okay. And it's the culture. All of you know that, right? But it will give you a simple access to the culture, to identify the culture. There are two kinds of cultures across the world. Only two kinds in 90% of the organization, 95% of the organizations. Okay. And it may have some different shades, but just consider there are only two types. And one is in majority of it, and in some exceptions, there will be the another culture. So the first culture that you will notice is what we call as a talk nice culture. A talk nice culture is welcome. Somebody joined in right now. Welcome. Thank for joining in. So the talk nice culture is in your official meetings. What happens? Official meetings, people, if somebody senior comes up with an idea, very soon, after a little bit of thing, very soon people align with them, right? People say, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it's okay. Good idea, good idea. That's the talk nice. People behave the way it is expected of them to behave in that conversation. Now, does it mean they're really aligned? No, after 2 weeks, when the same team comes back and they're looking at the progress, they realize all the alignment in the meeting did not translate into any real action. How many of you have been in such meetings? People were aligned, but after 2 weeks, when you meet again, you didn't, that alignment did not translate into any real action. Now, then was it real alignment or was it something else? We call it that was the tokenized culture speaking. Now, the same people, when they get out of the meeting and they are on the having a cup of coffee or outside, they're talking, saying, at that time it's not polite. At that time they are saying everything that they want to say. But in the meeting, it's all controlled. It's all controlled behavior. And if there are some kind of youngsters or enthusiastic people, they will speak up. Then HR or somebody senior will cool them down, and it will all become again, everybody's happy, nobody's fighting. Also, nobody's doing anything. So most companies you will find, not only companies, why companies? If you look at it, this has been there in our families also. We can only speak in a certain way and we can only say a certain things. This has been there in our schools and colleges. When teacher asks you a question, teacher doesn't want you to think. Teacher wants you to give the answer he or she knows. Right? You know what would happen if you paint the sun blue, right? Your parents will be called. So our education system also has been like that. So it's all talk nice culture. Behave in a way that the senior people want you to behave. And inside of that, yes, sir, kind of a culture. So what happens? A boss comes up with a great idea. At least he or she thinks it's a great idea, right? And after a little bit of discussions, everybody aligns with it. After 3 months, that idea has failed. Anybody surprised in the team? Suppose it's a 10 people team. Do you think people are surprised that this idea failed? No, only the boss is surprised. Everybody else is in their head, they are saying, oh, I knew it. It was a stupid idea from day one. इसको कौन समझाए? Am I communicating? Is this something that happens in your organizations? Have you seen? Hello?
This happens everywhere, not even in everywhere in life.
Everywhere, right? Yeah. If you're part of a religious organization, if you're part of a political organization, anywhere, everywhere, any group,
Wherever
this is
you
what
have a
happens.
pyramid structure, you will have this kind of thing.
Yeah. And that pyramid may not be even like a legal or official. It would be informal, right? Even in friends, some friends, you don't argue much, right? You say, okay, bye. Right? You are saying today's Diwali, fine. Right? Because the cost of arguing is too much. Now, what happens in that kind of an environment? What happens to the organization? If your organization has a talk nice culture, what is the damage caused by it?
Lack of growth.
Lack of growth, yes.
Big losses because of some failed projects, because
Yeah.
people are not really presenting their true opinions.
Yeah. Blunders, mistakes, losses. And are you tapping the intelligence of the people?
No.
No.
Surprising.
Yeah. Like one of the big business houses, once we were talking informally, and HR had said, we bring tigers from outside and then we remove their claws. And then we do this and we do that, and then they become pet dogs. So all the great stuff, extraordinary capability of the people and the team is not realized. Okay. Overall, the whole future is compromised. So this is what you will see in most organizations, most groups. And of course, we understand it's non-productive, right? Now, there are some exceptions. In some cases, it's not a talk nice culture. It is what we call as a talk tough culture. Talk tough culture is where people are attached to their idea. They're so attached to the idea that if you question their idea, they think you are questioning them. And they go out on a war. What are you saying? You don't like my idea? Are you idiot? And they will go on an attack. They will kind of find fault with your ideas. And if they cannot find fault with your ideas, they will find fault with you. And it becomes a war zone. I'm sure most of us have experienced this behavior also in some groups, where people are so attached to their ideas, they don't mind fighting with each other beyond a certain limit, right? And that in that fight, it's not even questioning the ideas; it becomes about questioning the person, questioning whatever, right? So that's another way some people deal with it. Some groups deal with it. It's a group behavior. It's not an individual behavior. So most of the groups are in the talk nice culture, and some groups are in the talk tough culture. So firstly, in the workshop, what we had to do is to realize this in a full-fledged, right? So you have to experientially get it. Right now, we're talking conceptually. Definitely, I expect that you get a sense of it. But in the workshop, what we do is we actually do exercises so that you can experience this, how this plays out. And then how do you convert from this talk nice culture and talk tough culture? How do you actually convert to a dialogue culture? And how do you convert it into a generative conversation, the co-creation culture? Okay, so these are some of the elements that we start in the workshop. So let me pause here again and give you a chance to share any insights for you, any take homes for you on. Yeah, so first that, and then you can also ask a question. First, share some insight, and then you can ask a question if you have. Mohit?
Yeah, Manoj, I have seen in most of the Asia, we've been brought up like this, that you can respect your elders, seniors, whatever is higher in the social or professional ladder. You can respect them, you can abuse them, but you cannot talk to them. And that is what we have learned. That is what we have propagated in our children, our
Yeah,
uh, you know, our
true.
employees, etc., everywhere. So
Yes.
it's such a big mental barrier, which uh, is quite important to break. I mean, while you
Yeah.
were talking, I was recalling so many incidences where I have been expecting these kind of behaviors. Okay, how do you question my idea or something? I
Yeah.
mean, like, you say whatever you want to say, and then I'll tell you the truth. That was
Yes.
the biggest opening for me, actually. Done it so many times, and I'm really looking forward to how to fix this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. And you can see the opportunity that will happen, right? For the organization and for yourself when you can fulfill this.
Yeah, sure. I
Great.
do.
Thanks, Mohit. Somebody else?
Hey, Manoj, there's a question that
Hi,
I wanted to ask.
please.
Uh, Like, do you think people are able to bring their head, heart, and soul in the best organizations of the world? Like, according to the world, what are the best organizations? The biggest tech companies, the biggest consulting companies like McKinsey, Bain, BCG, or like Apple, Google. Are people able to bring their whole selves over there, or even they have to improve in a way? So, like, can we learn
Yeah,
something from their culture, or like, is there a scope to improve?
I think it has got nothing to do with the size of the organization. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Big organizations may be great places to work. Big organizations may be hell places to work. There are both kinds of big organizations. Some of them will suck your soul. Some of them will nourish your soul. Okay. So I don't think bigness of the organization guarantees anything. It starts with leadership. So the more conscious leadership you will have, the more chances of they being nurturing your soul. Okay. So it all depends on the quality of leadership of the organization. Size of the organization doesn't matter.
And like, is it more difficult to bring that change in a bigger organization, or it just depends on how receptible the leadership is?
It all depends on the commitment of the leadership and the awareness level of the leadership.
Okay. That kind of makes me positive and hopeful about that.
Yeah. Even if it's a large organization, transforming that large organization, there are some leverage points. So we can do that. If the level of the commitment of the people at the top is there, then you can turn around as big an organization as you want. Not a problem. It's more connected to the commitment.
That's a
Thanks.
great insight.
Yeah. And in the workshop, if you participate in the workshop, you can ask more about this, and I'll tell you how big organizations can be transformed faster. There is some trick for that. Trick in the sense there is some kind of a leverage points are available.
Okay.
Yes, Ranjan, did you?
So I wanted to understand how does one make out that an employee or a group of employees are bringing their souls.
If you have to ask the
What-
question, then if you have to ask that question, that means they are not bringing the soul.
But what is the manifestation? How does one get that feeling?
It is then their company, not your company. They're not working in your company. It is they behave as if they are up to a mission. Right? They are up to creating something. They will work with you as if you're the owner. They will work with you as partners and co-creators, not as followers, not as waiting for you to guide him. They will lead the journey in many forms, and you will find a different level of initiative, different level of sourceful thinking. They will keep expanding new horizons of the game. Right? If you have to drive the organization, then that means people are not bringing their soul there. If you have to work on motivating people, that means they are not bringing the soul there. Right? One of the worst things that people talk about is motivation. You don't need to motivate people. If you start creating an environment where they can bring their heart and soul, then you don't need to motivate them. Firstly, we create structures, we take away all the motivation, we suck away their soul, and then we say, now motivate them. Then we give them some carrots. Of course, it's good for the training industry. They can do a lot of motivation workshops, and it's good motivation for the trainers.
But for managers also, when all the while
Forget it. That's a different topic. The whole point is, if
No,
you
no,
can
what
create
I
an
meant to say
environment. Go ahead.
what I meant to say was that for all my life, I've seen that for managers, it's a great virtue to be driving. So I've driven this, I've driven that, which obviously means that you are imposing things and taking away some of the soul and the heart and so on.
Yeah. And or you have the wrong people. Wrong people means wrong people in the wrong game. It's not wrong people per se, but it's they're in the wrong game. If you have to drive it, that means, and there is of course some amount of leadership initiative will provide. But if the other person is complaining that you are driving it, that means there is somebody is in the wrong game. Mitesh, Shamla, Manoj, Rima, Dishank. Dishank and Nishant, you can even ask something from AMA perspective. It is okay if we transform AMA also. We won't charge extra for that. We want, of course, AMA is number one in India, but we can still be making a bigger difference on the planet. Right. Parij, Disha, Nidhi, anything, anybody? Okay, so if you have a question, you should ask. Let me tell you about the logistics of the workshop. Uh, yeah. I was trying to read the messages. So yeah. So we, as Mr. Dixit mentioned, we are doing this workshop at AMA. It's going to be an in-person workshop. This is going to be the fourth batch. If you have not received the brochure, just send your email to Himani. Himani, can you raise your hand? Yeah. So just right now, if you can send your email ID to Himani, she will send you the brochure. The course is going on 26th and 27th, which is a Friday and Saturday. It will be from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it will be followed by some support structures for you to continue to implement what you have learned. And yeah, and the tuition is going to be 47,000 rupees plus tax per person. If you're participating in group, then there will be discount. You can get in touch with AMA for that. And so plus if you are an NGO or you are an educational institution or you are some social impact conversation, then AMA has some facilities where you can get some discounts for that. Right. If you're an outstation a person, and you need any support with regards to logistics, you once you register, you can let us know. We will see how we can support you. Okay. And I'm going to put my WhatsApp number and email ID also in the chat, so you can write that down if you need that. Second. So okay, and Himani, if you can also write the. Did you guys see my message? Is it come to you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Himani, if you can also write the AMA numbers for everybody, that will be good. And if you can also attach the brochure here, people can download the brochure here itself. Can you attach the brochure here? I can do it, I think. Let me see if I can do it. Just 1 second. Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to give you. Okay. So the brochure, okay, Dishank is also shared as it. And Dishank, then can you also share the note, the theory you note? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so questions, comments, what ifs, anything you need? this is time for you to ask. Hiren, what you can do with all this in your business, with your clients, with your teams?
So I think this is just the gist of it. And anyways, I'm joining on 26, 27. So will be
Yes,
on knowledge. So maybe after that, I will be able to gain some more in-depth information. Will be using my business also and some others business also.
great, perfect. Thank you very much. But are you seeing the light?
Yes.
You can see the direction that we're going.
Right.
Creating future-ready organizations, creating organizations where people bring their head, heart, and soul. And the third thing is every organization being a positive impact on the planet.
Right.
Right?
So I think
Interested?
the vision, the mission is very important, and
Yes.
I think this is much required right now.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you. Navneet, anything for you?
No, the insight is really useful, and let me go through the brochure.
Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, by the way, I forgot to also let you know the Theory U is right now world's #1 leadership and change management conversation. And it's developed over the last 3 decades. And it's being used by all the big companies, so Google and Alibaba and McKinsey. So in the brochure, you will see that there is a section where we put the names of the companies. And right now, more than 1,000 UN leaders are being trained by Otto Scharmer, and some of our IS officers have also gone through the training. It is also, it's the great thing is it's being used not only in corporates but also in all other forms of organizations, including government and social and education and other. We ourselves we have been doing this work on Theory for the last 7-8 years, and we have had people from more than 30 industries, more than 10 countries participating with us. In the last 2 programs, we had people. In the last program, we had somebody from US also joining in at the AMA, and the program before that, we had somebody from Thailand coming in. And of course, we have normally in AMA, more people come from Ahmedabad, but in our case, we have been having also people coming in from all over the place, like Bombay and Delhi and Bangalore and Maharashtra and a lot of other places. So it's kind of something which people appreciate the impact, and it's a global conversation. So I want you to know that it is right now world's #1 leadership and change management conversation. Okay. And as you study more about it, you will discover that this is being used on multiple scales. Like Scotland government is using it to transform the government. And in Germany, this is being used to also transform the healthcare network. And first time I have noticed that other universities beyond MIT are taking this course and running it in their university. So not only they are learning it, but they are also launching this course, Theory U-based courses in their universities, which is, I think, a very good kind of openness of the education system, which is normally not so open. And of course, also because Otto Scharmer allows those freedom to those organizations, right? Okay, so that's there from my side. Anybody? Last question? Yeah, Vikas, go ahead.
Thank you for the insightful session, Manoj. First and foremost, I was not very sure that I would spend my 1.5 hours with you on this session, but it really intrigued me to continue while having my food on the side. Thank you for that. I have
Yeah.
been close to Hiren Panchal and I have attended some of the sessions from him, so I could definitely guarantee him as the best tutor or best teacher I met last quarter. So I appreciate Hiren on that. And he did touch about your course and what he was planning to do with you, so that way I got linked and I got connected with you. Now, my question to you is, Manoj,
Yeah.
I've been with the organization for more than 13 years now. I've seen organization growing from small to medium to large, where we are now operating in 40 countries. We got more than 6,000 employees. My particular area constitutes more than 25 members who works across the globe. So we got 3 regions: EMEA, North America, and Europe and UK. I have been recently promoted from senior director to global vice president. So that is what my current role is. Now, as such,
Congratulations.
thank you so much, Manoj. And as such, I'm doing everything what requires to do. And as you rightly said, you don't need a tag to become a leader or to act as a leader. And that has been my forte from the start. I work more as an entrepreneur within the organization and taking ownership of the things to make things happen.
Right.
For the year FY25, where I'm starting April 1st, I want to 3x my growth and my team's growth. Now, if I intend to attend your session or this 2 days, plan what you have shared, what is the short-term outcome what I can personally accept, and what is the long-term outcome would you recommend or would you suggest that possibly I can expect from this, 2 days of learning?
Yeah. So great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your journey, your success, and your willingness to learn. A couple of things. One is I would recommend that if possible, you attend with your core team, because as you know, that when you want to bring a change in your organization, if you're the only player trying to do it, it is that much more challenging. But if you have 2, 3 people, or max, we say if you have 5 people, you can change the world also. So normally we recommend leaders to come with their core team if it is possible. So that's my first recommendation. What are the results you could expect? One is you will get if profound relationship with all that your team members. Okay, that is one thing that you will get. Second thing is you will see your role from their perspective, and you might find that they have expectations that you had no idea. Okay, and I'll just give an example of that. So we did this work with one education company, which is some 35 education institutions in that. Okay, and we did an in-house workshop on the same lines. After they went through the exercises, they said, we always thought we are the best school in town, but we had no idea that our stakeholders had these expectations from us. Right? So one is you will see your role from the eyes of your customers, your team members, and other stakeholders, and that will allow you to collaborate with them in a very different way. Right? And so that is the second thing that will happen. Third thing is you will find the IQ of your team has gone up. You will do the workshop and the IQ of your team will go up, because you will then build a culture where you will see that everybody is able to contribute and everybody is able to build on each other's ideas. Okay, so these are the 3 things that will immediately happen. Based on that, can you create new opportunities in your business? Of course, because business is all about ultimately people, right? So if you are connecting with your customers, you're connecting with your vendors, you're connecting with other players in the game and the whole ecosystem. And if you're able to do all this, you're able to have profound connections with your clients. You're able to see your role from their eyes, right? And you're able to collaborate with them, co-create with them. And you can change the game. Okay, so that's what can happen. And I think you're committed enough to play for that, right? You're not, you will definitely have that. And if you can get a couple of people who are open-minded as you, don't force anybody, but people who are open-minded and they kind of positive, if you can get a couple of them along with you, it will be that much faster. The transformation will be that much faster. Okay, but this is guaranteed. If you are willing to work for it, of course. It's not that you register and then Himani will courier you all these results. It won't happen like that. But if you work for it, it is guaranteed to happen.
So I tell to my team, Manoj, if you work hard for the company, I work harder for you. And that's my mantra, I've not seen from my boss in past, but that is something what I always wished for. So that is how I lead.
Yeah. So it would be great fun if you can be there in the workshop, and preferably if with a couple of your positive associates, that will be better. It will help you to make the transformation in the group faster. It's not compulsory, but if possible, then that would be great. Yeah. Perfect. Great. Mitesh, anything for you?
Is there any fees or kind of thing?
No, it's only some $1 million.
For
So
me or for you?
yeah, for you, and then you have to
Yeah.
pay 10% of that to me. Okay.
Sure, no problem.
So the tuition for the course is 47,000 plus tax for individual participation. And if you're a member of AMA, then you will get certain scholarships. And then if you are a group or the thing, you will get certain scholarships. So Dishank can help you with that. Dishank, can you share your number, please? And Mitesh,
I have
you
already
can
shared my email address as well as the
phone
direct
number.
number.
Yeah, we
Just-
have
just-
same
on the chat.
email ID
Yeah.
both.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So Dishank is the person who can help you. And if it doesn't help you, then you let me know. Okay. And yes, anything else, Mitesh?
Not at all.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll hand over to Unmesh Dikshit. By the way, Unmesh didn't introduce himself properly. He is the executive director of AMA. And many of you know, but I think if I'm not mistaken, AMA has been awarded the best managed local management association for some 21 years. And so they are the stars in their game. Okay. And they manage some 500, 700 programs every year. Only. And yeah, only because. And today, like for example, today, as we are talking, they are launching 3 programs. Okay. So, and in spite of that, in spite of all their schedules and everything, they want to, I think I would say they don't want to get seduced by the success of the past, and they want to also be a future ready organization. So they are willing to play this kind of new dimensions. So thanks to the whole team to be, and good thing is they're not selling this course to you. They have actually themselves participated. So all of them. So Dikshit has done the course. He already mentioned that. Nishant has participated in the. Nishant, you were in the first batch, right? And then not Nishant. Nishant participated in the last one. And third batch. Yeah, third batch. Sorry, and Dishank participated in the first batch. Right. So they are also learning and implementing it, and not only they're participating, they're actually learning and implementing it. So that's the feedback that I have gotten from the team. Over to you, Dikshit.
As it is rightly said in the books of leadership and training leadership assignments with you also, Manoj sir, that if you want to grow, be there where you are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So yes, you rightly said, we at AMA are very much comfortable, even if we announce Excel leadership, Excel training programs or spoken English or Japanese language. There are n number of people who are giving registrations to us. But then when we collaborated it for the first time, and CXO and Theory U, and when there were challenging calls that, oh my God, AMA is doing such a high ticket program, or will CXOs will come, will CEOs will come. So those kind of challenging or concern based questions triggered me the most, because this is the only job I should do. Rest of the comfort zone, AMA per se is already doing it for last 25 years sitting in this campus. And if we have been awarded, thanks to the society at large, but then I would like to also create a new identity for the coming 25 years. So if Theory U is a challenge for CXOs to bring, we are game for it, sir, because ultimately we are a leadership organization and we should not feel shy, or we should not feel away ourselves from that challenge. So my request and my sharing both is here to all the members. This is a special program AMA is offering to you all for the future of the society, your organization, and us as an individual. Thank you very much, all those who have joined, and see you all soon on 26th or 27th, both days for the leadership training program. Thank you very much.
Okay. Because you can reach out to Dishank, okay? And if you need anything, you can reach out to me. Okay, everybody. See you soon. I hope all of you are
Thank you
able to
very much,
join
everybody.
us. It would be great fun to work together. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
Thank you.
yeah, see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.